Let's bring in a guy who saw it all. He was there. Leland Vittert is an anchorman on NewsNation, and he was the chief anchorman for that network covering the memorial. You must have seen some things that you weren't expecting. Can
Yeah,
you
for
tell
sure.
us?
For sure,
about
Bill.
that.
And your producer emailed me for this hit and said that you wanted to discuss the stuff I picked up on that folks at home didn't get to see. The number one thing that folks at home didn't get to see that we saw was as President Trump became nakedly political, and as he said, "I hate my opponents," and on and on and on, people started walking out, and not a few. Tonight on my program on NewsNation, I will show you the video of the stands emptying as Trump went on and turned this in to a rally speech. And I think what it shows is that for as much as President Trump understands his crowd, and look, following Erica Kirk was unbelievably hard, but he just did not understand the moment.
How many? So there were what, 70,000 inside?
Yeah. By the end of Trump's speech, it was less than half full, maybe even a third full. It was a stunning rebuke of President Trump, and I think you have to realize that stadium was filled for Charlie Kirk. Donald Trump's done a lot of things. He has never filled a football stadium with overflow, and Charlie Kirk did. And I think this brings us to understanding the difference between Turning Point USA and the organization that Charlie Kirk created and what they believe in, and the politics of Donald Trump. Now, you can say very easily, well, look, Trump's just incapable of not being the center of attention, of not being the most important person in the room. That may be something to it, but there was a squandering, I think, by President Trump of the moment, in just not understanding what the crowd needed at that time.
Do you think he got it back afterward with the embrace of Erica Kirk and the sympathy that he showed to her?
Yeah.
And the second question I would have would be, if you have a memorial based upon a man who was assassinated because of his political beliefs, shouldn't those beliefs be highlighted? See, that's why I didn't have any problem with what Donald Trump was saying. I would have said it a little bit differently. I wish I had written a speech, but I didn't have any trouble because that's the essence of this whole thing. That Charlie Kirk lost his life because he espoused certain things, and they're compatible with President Trump.
Well, a couple of things to that. One, Charlie Kirk was the first person who was able to merge politics and faith. So many had tried to turn a faith movement into a political movement in America. He did it. And I'm not an analyst or a partisan or a guy with opinions. I'm a journalist. And I don't think it really matters whether people think they should be able to, or it makes sense, or it should, the views were compatible. The crowd spoke with their feet. When Donald Trump did that, he lost the audience.
Okay.
And I had folks calling me at home saying, "What is going on here?" And the idea, I think, that Erica Kirk gave that speech. You had that moment, and you said something else you couldn't pick up on. When she said that, I forgive, my husband's assassin. I've never been in a football stadium, that you felt the emotion, the physical response of, I sort of wanted to throw up. I sort of wanted to cry. I had admiration. I'm still emotional thinking about that moment. And the fact that then Donald Trump walks out and goes, "Hey, Lee Greenwood, nobody can sing it like you." What are you doing?
Well, I didn't say. I think you're being a little harsh on Trump on that one. I think what he wanted to do, because I know him so well and I know how he prepares for this kind of stuff, I think he wanted to basically get on the side of Erica Kirk, get on her side, and then say, as I said in the lead up to this interview, look, Erica Trump is a better person than I am. I can't do it.
Erica Kirk.
I'm sorry, Erica Kirk is a better
Yeah.
person than I am. I can't bring that level of forgiveness. I thought that was a good moment for Trump. Cold and flu season coming on up. We all know it. And it really is nothing to take lightly. So when people start getting sick all across the country, medications disappear. Everybody wants it at the same time. So it's very, very smart to have a pharmacy you can count on, like All Family Pharmacy. Right now, they're helping Americans get ahead of the curve with 10% off antibiotics, antivirals, other essentials. You know how important it is to have the right meds when you get sick, particularly when your kids get sick. You don't want to be going into the doctor's office, spending all the time. You want to have them at your home. So if you have a few months' supply, you don't have to worry. And that's what we're doing here. If you believe in medical freedom, okay, and taking care of your family, as I do, this is the pharmacy for you. Please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%.
You know, I thought the embracing her was a great moment. He should have done it at the beginning. That's what the crowd needed. So I'm just telling you from being in the room that when he came out and did the whole Lee Greenwood thing, it just didn't work. It felt like a rally. This wasn't a rally. This was a revival.
And there's a difference. I think it's a valid point. You did not want it to feel like a rally, but it's so hard. Just keep this in mind, and I'll talk about this on your show tonight because I'm going to be on with Leland at 9 on NewsNation. When you lose your life because of your political beliefs, Leland, whether it's Martin Luther King Jr., whether it's Bobby Kennedy, whether it's John F. Kennedy, when you lose your life, that's what took his life. Somebody reinforcing those beliefs to a crowd that may not know. Because remember, a lot of people didn't know Charlie Kirk. They don't know what Turning Point is. That's true. But remember, he's playing worldwide here.
Yeah, Bill, I hear you. I've not covered politics as long as you have, but from my sort of covering of the movement and the people, he missed the moment to hold people's hand and to say, I feel your pain and I feel your loss, and we can all learn from you, Erica. And I'll put it another way, just raw politics here. Donald Trump never filled the football stadium. Charlie Kirk did. The power of Turning Point USA to pull together a 100,000 person event in a week was stunning.
Yeah.
We were all the media. So they did all this. That organization's got serious power and serious staying power. And I think you run the risk of squandering this moment to merge MAGA and Turning Point USA. Well, that was the moment that Trump had.
But that's not what he does. Donald Trump lives in the moment. He's not thinking about that. But here's something interesting. The criticism of Trump after the memorial service ended on the networks and MS and CNN was muted. It was muted. Everybody was told to tone it down because they would have opened up. Even on The View today and a few of the others, they didn't come after him the way they might have.
Yeah, I think we're in a different moment politically because of, one, these networks have seen the backlash that has happened with their viewership. Two, they've seen the backlash that's happened corporately. And the threat of that and the feeling about that is very real. I didn't watch the coverage. I was sort of doing
you have to trust me on that one.
So
I got it. I got the stats here. Once we banish you, I'm going to read them. But anyway, look, I understand what your point of view is. See it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I understand. But I'll just give you. I'll give you this last thing to think about. This is what the conservative movement in America is going to be. And I think you saw a two-path turning point, if you will, or inflection point here of, does MAGA become turning point, which has this very deep faith-based discussion,
Right.
and basis, or do they remain separate? Now,
I
that's
can't.
the inflection point.
Nobody can predict. I will tell you this: if Erica Kirk decides to run for higher office, she'll win.
Well, that's what I always said about her husband, right?
Right.
That if
She'll
her
win.
husband,
So
yeah,
she
her
will be a
husband would have been
force.
president or a nominee.
Right there. All right, Leland, we'll see you tonight, 9 Eastern, News Nation. We appreciate it very much.